This sturdy humanoid creature is a cockroach from Mars. When Jack and Mary saw it, thought it was a Martian. Jack greeted it with confusion, but the cockroach snapped Mary's neck with a swift. Then it took off like the wind. Jack carried Mary's body back to the ship. He angrily questioned the captain. He found out that humans had put moss and cockroaches on Mars 500 years ago to improve the climate. Now Mars has enough oxygen, but the cockroach has evolved through prolonged radiation, have evolved into huge things, and this time their mission is to destroy the cockroaches in order to fight against the mutated cockroaches. The doctor has given each of them a genetic modification in advance. The captain then sent the respective mutant abilities to everyone. At that moment, a cockroach crawled on top of the ship and hit the glass with its head. As the glass was shattered by the cockroach, the captain first injected the active agent into his body, transformed into a powerful bullet ant. The cockroach was easily killed. The crew marvels at how powerful the genetic modification can be, and at that moment, the ship detected that a large number of cockroaches were coming. The ship's systems were malfunctioning, unable to take off. In the face of the cockroach army surrounded, the captain asked a group of people, "Go to find the first ship left on Mars 10 years ago." The other group stayed behind to stall the cockroaches. When the search team opened the gates, the cockroaches had surrounded the area. Mike immediately injected the active agent. He got on top of the armored car. He puffed up the airbag and spat out 100 meters of flame. This gave the armored car a strong thrust. Instantly out of the cockroaches surrounded. Just as the crowd was rejoicing, a tsunami of cockroaches appeared in the distance. A black mass. They were rapidly coming towards them. The armored car met them head-on. It's a good thing that Mike was able to withstand the onslaught. The armored car made a break for it. This giant black tide like a tsunami in front of us. It's a cockroach. The people in the armored car can only fight hard. Good thing Mike was able to withstand the wave of attack. The armored car successfully broke out. But before they could rejoice, the second wave of cockroaches, even higher and stronger, came at them again. At this point, Mike could hardly resist the second wave of attack, so the two members of the team, who were good at defense, transformed into insect forms, came to their aid. They set up shields, desperately trying to block the cockroach attack, although they managed to break out. But the rolling armored vehicle threw all three men off the vehicle. The team members on the car were also in a coma state from the impact. At this point, the armored car went into autopilot mode. As the armored car slowly drove away, the three fallen men were surrounded by cockroaches. The three men were all killed. Jack and his men, after a difficult journey, finally arrived at the first ship. Two of the team members stayed outside the door. Jack and his team entered the interior of the ship. They found out that the system of the first ship is also broken. At that moment, gunshots suddenly came from outside. The two crew members left outside the door were shot and killed. It turns out that the cockroaches have already learned how to use guns. Jack quickly injected himself into the active agent, transformed into B form. In the face of the cockroaches shooting bullets, Jack was able to dodge easily. Then Smith turned into a locust form. His strong bouncing power, he was able to kill one cockroach after another, together with the team member in the form of a praying mantis. Soon the three of them finished off the cockroaches around them, but then they saw in the distance, the second ship was starting up. Looking at the second ship that had already taken off, they realized that they had been deceived. The real purpose of the doctor was to obtain the genes of the cockroaches and to collect data on Jack's battles with the cockroaches, and then create a more powerful cockroach army to dominate the world. The cockroach man looked at the ship that had taken off, and then evolved wings, leaping up in a single bound. And then a large number of cockroaches on the ground flew up one by one. They landed on the ship that had already taken off. The ship was immediately destroyed by the cockroaches. They began to fall slowly to the ground. Jack and his men rushed to dodge the falling ship. The smoke cleared. Jack, three people have been surrounded by an army of cockroaches, despite the disparity in strength. But we can only fight against the water. The three men then transformed into insect forms. They started to kill the cockroaches. Jack faced the cockroach leader, but unexpectedly, the cockroach leader has evolved faster, stronger power. Another team member was killed by the cockroach. Seeing this scene, Mike himself injected the second bottle of active agent. Now his jumping power and speed are even better. He jumped into the air, injected the third bottle of active agent. Then he unlocked his wings, waves and spins in the air, killing all over the world. Then Mike kept injecting himself with the active agent. Eventually, he reached his limit and caused side effects and collapsed in pain. At this time, the poison needle in Jack's hand was also broken by the cockroach. At this point, the two men were at the end of their tether. Just as the cockroach swung his fist at Jack, suddenly, he stopped. It was Mary. She used the active agent to turn into a butterfly. She kept throwing her dust on the ground. As long as there is a small spark, can trigger the dust explosion. Cockroaches do not know why, so they shoot. So it caused a big explosion. Mike used his last ounce of strength to carry Jack out, but in the end, he lost the last bit of strength. He fell down. However, the cockroach leader was not killed by the explosion. It slowly came towards Jack. Jack knocked it down with a punch, but he didn't kill it. Turned around and went to the ship. Jack entered the ship, activated the ship's escape pod, and sailed away from Mars. At this point, some of the surviving cockroaches still wanted to pursue, but the leader stopped them. He let Jack go. Maybe it knows how to return the favor. Thanks for watching this episode of Animal World.